I have owned a Ouija board for a couple years now. I never actually used the board. It would just sit in the back of my closet collecting dust. On a rainy day, my brother and I decided to take out the Ouija board and mess around, calling to some spirits. My parents happened to be out of town that night, so we were home alone in our house. I told my brother to go downstairs to the first floor and grab some candles while I brought the Ouija board down. 5 minutes later, we were all set up. The Ouija board was in the middle, surrounded by 3 candles. We also had an EMF reader to add to the scary vibe. After we turned off all of the lights in the entire house, we placed our hands on the wooden planchette and we started asking questions. Some of the questions were, are there any spirits in the house? What is your name? And stuff like that. Nothing seemed to happen after every question that we asked, so we started to get bored. I told my brother that we would ask one more question and then wrap it up, because it does not work. My brother asked the final question. Are we home alone in the house right now? Then, out of nowhere, the wooden planchette started slowly moving and ended up on the no. I quickly asked my brother, did you move it? He replied with the answer no. I told him that I also did not move the wooden piece. We both started getting really scared, but we continued. Where in the house are you? We asked. My brother and I both got startled. It took me a minute to realize that one of the doors on the second floor slammed closed. I stood up, telling my brother to come upstairs with me to see what happened. Upstairs, we realized that the only door that was closed was my door. I was so scared to go inside, but I decided to be brave, and I slowly opened the door. The room was dark, and I could not see anything. I quickly flicked on the light, only to see my room. There was no one there. My brother and I walked in the room. We quickly realized that my room was very cold, a lot colder than the rest of the house. I shivered as I walked out of my room with my brother following me. We walked down the stairs to the first floor. That was when I saw that one of the candles around the Ouija board was blown out. I was terrified. My brother suggested that we pack up the Ouija board and turn all the lights back on. We quickly blew out the candles and packed up the Ouija board. The next day, we decided to throw out the board. We were never gonna go near a Ouija board again. This happened to my friends and I while we were home alone on a Saturday night. I invited my friends over to play the Ouija board at my house for the weekend. Since my parents were out of town, I knew we could stay up late and do some scary stuff. Around a half an hour later, my 3 friends all arrived at my house. By this time, it was already 9, so the sun had gone down. We all gathered around in the living room, ready to start the game. I brought down the Ouija board from my attic and set it on the ground. Once we were all ready, we put our hands on the planchette piece and started by asking some questions. The first question was, if there are any spirits in this house, give us a sign. We waited for a few seconds. There was no response, so we decided to ask the same question again. If there are any spirits in this house, give us a sign. Suddenly, we all heard a loud knock coming from the wall in the living room. All 4 of us jumped back in fear. We did not expect anything to happen. I asked all of my friends if we should stop or continue, and they all said we should keep going. We decided to ask a few more questions. Are you living in the walls of the house? The planchette slowly started moving towards the word no. This was very weird, since the first sound came from inside the wall. At this point, my friends and I were all convinced that there was some sort of spirit in this house trying to communicate with us. Are you here in the living room with us? After a few seconds, the planchette slowly moved to the word yes. This gave me goosebumps, as I was starting to get more worried. That was when I asked, "Are you going to hurt us?" I was expecting the planchette to move to the word yes or no, but instead, it started spelling out a word. The first letter was an L, then I, G, H, T, S, spelling out the word lights. My friends and I all looked up at the lights above my living room, expecting something to happen. After about a minute of just staring at the lights, we thought nothing was going to happen. That was when the lights in the living room started to flicker. This gave me chills, as I got up and ran to the light switch to try to fix the lights. I flipped the switch on and off, but nothing happened. The lights kept flickering. My friends all started to get scared as we ran to the kitchen. Suddenly, the lights in the living room all turned off. My friends and I walked back to the living room to see what happened. That was when the knocks on the wall started happening. There was a knock coming from all sides in the living room. I yelled at my friends to come back to the Ouija board and end the game. We all put our hands on the planchette and started saying goodbye. After doing that, the knocks on the wall stopped, and the lights in the living room turned back on. We were still all very scared, as I packed up the board and put it back in the attic. To this day, I still believe that we were so lucky to escape with our lives that day.